Hello and welcome inside the campus of Emmanuel Lutheran High School for today's varsity game between the Lanterns of Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran and the Cardinals of Stevens Point Pacelli. Sorry about that. I have my mic turned down. This is Gunny Sipper, and
my mic's okay. There it is. I'm James Chaser.
We are here live. No pep band today. That's why the broadcast started late. National anthem coming up here.
Welcome to the campus of Emmanuel High School for tonight's game between the Pacelli High School Cardinals and your Emmanuel Lutheran Lancers. Please stand and remove your hats as Emmanuel High School student Lexi Williams leads us in the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Emmanuel High School, Pacelli High School, WIA required good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators in this slots events. Please support the players, coaches, and officials in a positive manner. Comments of a sexist, racial, or ethnic nature of inconvenient actions will not be tolerated in a grounds floor removal from the gymnasium. Please be aware of the possibility of a ball or player entering the bleachers during the competition. Thank you and enjoy the game. Now for our starting lineups, first for Pacelli. Sophomore number 1, Mitchell Miller. Junior number 3, Cameron Cloud. Junior number 12, Andrew Blanker. Junior number 15, Andrew Furman. And junior number 22, Garrett Parks. Cardinals are coached by Matt Resch. And now for your Lancers. Junior number 12, Jordan Rooks. Junior number 14, Levi Schaller. Sophomore number 20, Seth Miller. Senior number 40, David Hine. And senior number 42, Jonathan Gamble. Lancers are coached by Tom Williams, assisted by Joe Lau and John Rapp.
Thank you for tuning in again. Sorry about the rough start James and I had. But we're glad you're tuned in on this Saturday afternoon for some non-conference basketball. This is the last non-conference game for Emmanuel Lutheran against Stevens Point Pacelli Catholic High School. This is the second time these teams have met in the last 2 years. Last year it was in Stevens Point as Emmanuel traveled 2 hours east. Today it was Pacelli making the 2-hour west journey. It'll be Jonathan Gamble against Garrett Parks on the tip. Jonathan cannot get it the first time, gets the second attempt, and Seth Miller is back from injury. He scored 13 against Independence in a loss on Thursday. We'll have more on that game later, but Seth achieved his season high and did not show much struggle coming back from injury. Here's David for 3 to open the game, possibly. No good, and the rebound for Andrew Furmanak. He's a returning starter from last year's team. The only one of the top 5 scorers from last year's Pacelli's team that did not graduate. John got a steal there as they tried to pass it inside, and they swing it around to Levi Schaller. Jonathan Gamble, right wing. He had his first three-pointer of his high school career on Thursday night against Indy.
Crowd went crazy.
He was now 1 for 6 on the year and 1 for 11 in his high school career. And he is a 4-year varsity player, remember. Jordan Ritz goes right, gives it up for David. David to John. John in the short corner, guarded by Furmanak. Step back by John. Good look. And that'll roll in. John opens the scoring, and Emmanuel's got a 2-0 lead here early. Emmanuel is currently 4-1 in non-conference play. They have 6 non-conference games total, not including the crossover. Double dribble there by Garrett Parks. Emmanuel's only non-conference loss came to Spring Valley in the second game of the year. They have wins over Cornell, Emmanuel Lutheran Mankato, Elmwood Plum City, and New Auburn as well. Their 6th and final non-conference game before the crossover, who they don't know who they're playing. 2 turnovers for Pacelli to start their offensive night. Here's David for Emmanuel. David Heim gives it up for John. David had his season high on Monday night against Oliva Strum. He had 16 points, only 5 against Indy on Thursday, though. Jordan gives it up for Levi. Levi goes by his defenders. Now David right corner. David drives around the elbow. Nice bounce pass to John. Deeper 2 this time for Gamble. No good. Good rebounding by David on the effort there. But Parks has the rebound for the Cardinals. Stevens Point Pacelli plays in the Central Wisconsin 8 Conference. They are currently in 5th out of 8 teams in the conference. That is at the exact same spot where they finished last year. They go inside to number 12, Andrew Blanker. He's the team's leading scorer. Now it's Cameron Cloud stepping into a 3. No good. Blanker averages 14.2 a game. He's followed by Cloud, who averages 9.5. David Hine left wing. He's guarded by number 1, Mitchell Miller. John to the lane, and Jonathan Gamble. John's got 3 double-digit scoring games in a row, his highest streak of the season. And he achieved his season high against Independence on Thursday with 15. Shot there from Blanker is no good. Up ahead they go to Jordan. Jordan, the team's leading scorer. He gets fouled and will go to the line. Jordan did not get to the line against Independence. He's been shooting it very well from the stripe.
Got Go Lancers from Matt and Karen Shazer in Madison.
Good to hear from the Shazers. Jordan gets the first. Jordan has a 64.52 free throw percentage. That's 3rd on the team with a minimum amount of free throw attempts. He makes 1 of 2. That was not an air ball. I'm not sure why they whistled that off. That should have been... lane violation. Yeah. Never mind. So Jordan gets another shot at his 2nd free throw. No good. John was trying to get in on the boards, but Pacelli got the best of him. Back the other way. Garrett Parks swings it over. Blanker. Number 15, Andrew Furmanak. Miller up top. They swing it around. Lots of motion on the outside. Here's Furmanak. He goes right. He's guarded by Hine. Parks is guarded by Gamble, so that's the player to watch on offense. Jonathan usually given the toughest defensive assignment. Miller reaches over Levi Schaller and gets the putback attempt to go. It's 5-2 Emmanuel. They've been starting out really well this week, getting on top of teams all 3 games. As David attempts a 3 here, David Hine! Jordan credited with the assist, but Emmanuel has kind of found themselves petering out towards the end of the first half and in the second half. The runner by Cloud is good.
Wow.
Got an 8-4 game. Jonathan pushing the pace back. Jonathan's got 4. He leads all players. David Hine on the right wing looking for some motion from his teammates. They've got 5 out right now. Jonathan goes in. He's guarded by Furmanak. Man defense for both teams to start the game. Jordan dribbles to the left corner. Nice cut by Seth. Can't handle the pass cleanly. Has to kick it out to Jordan. Jordan for 3. No good. And the rebound there from Blanker. Blanker gives it up for Cloud. Cloud is guarded by Jordan Roots. Furmanak guarded by Hine. Schaller's on Miller. And Seth Miller is on Blanker. Shot there from Mitchell Miller. Good from the left corner. Baseline jumper puts Pacelli within 2. Jonathan Gamble gives it to Miller. This is Seth Miller for Emmanuel. Over to Jordan. And back up to Levi. Levi to John. John expanding his range on Thursday. He drives to the bucket here. Cannot draw a foul. Gets the ball, though, as it comes down to him. Inside they go to John. Nice pass by David. And a nice misdirection there by John as he turned around the other way. Gets his own board. Pacelli looking a little lackadaisical on the defensive rebounds there. Jordan goes around a much bigger player in Parks. Misses Seth Miller with another offensive rebound. And out they go to Jordan. They get a third chance at scoring here. Jordan to David. Down low, it's Jordan Roots. Nice pass from Levi. But it was set up by the cut of Jordan Roots.
Just some lazy play by Pacelli there, just not boxing anyone out on those 3 offensive rebounds for Emmanuel.
A 2-hour trip on a Saturday is no joke. Emmanuel also was very sluggish last year when they went to Stevens Point. And I think it's even harder for the varsity team. They had to sit for an hour or 2 watching the JV game. No good on the other end was Pacelli, and Seth got it stolen. Seth wanted a kick, and he might have had a legitimate argument there. Up top, it's Blanker. He gives it to Cloud. They're looking for Miller inside. He's got the big size advantage on Levi Schaller. They get it to him, but Levi gets a jump ball out of it. He'll switch the possession arrow, but it'll stick with Pacelli. Seth Miller's father actually went to Pacelli High School, and I think maybe that's the reason we're having these games. Perhaps he's gotten in and let Prof. Grams know. Our AD, Prof. Grams. Blankard loses his dribble. Going in is Furmanax. Good move on David. And 1. They're going to give him the bucket on that one.
Nauman's watching from Washington, like always. Nice to have them texting.
In.
Fall on Emmanuel's number 40, David Hine. That's his first personal. David's first.
David's first.
Shooting 1. David Furman.
First sub of the game is Nathan Helms. You can see him number 5 there with his back to the camera. Furmanack cannot complete the 3-point play and misses the first Pacelli free throw of the afternoon. David Hine with the board on that one. It's 10-8 Emmanuel. In they go to Roots. Emmanuel's had very good offensive looks, but have turned it over now on 2 straight possessions. Jordan Roots gets that one. Pass picked off. In transition, Cloud. He cannot get the layup to go. Ahead goes Schaller to Miller, just over the outstretched arm of Blanker. And Seth Miller. Good finish at the hoop. Seth's first points of the day.
Seth going up against 2 people who had a big advantage of height over him. Still manages to get it.
He just got, Schaller just got that pass over Blanker's hands. Garrett Parks will be guarded by Gamble here tonight, and although Parks isn't the team's leading scorer, if he were to be guarded by someone else, you would assume that he would have his way. Jonathan's going to have to take that task. Before a backcourt violation might have happened, a timeout called by head coach Matt Resch of Pacelli. Matt Resch is in his 2nd year of coaching this team. Last year he went 9-14. This year they are 8-9. So he's got a total of 17-23 in his Pacelli career. It's the only varsity job he's ever had.
Got a text in from Mrs. Hine asking who won last year between these 2 teams.
It was Pacelli taking it 64-53. I've got a little bit on that later. Emmanuel played decently well in the second half, but they found themselves down by 12 at halftime and could not cut the gap. Brian Siddle only scored 3 points in that game, Emmanuel's leading scorer from last year, but they found other people to pick up the slack. Jonah Albrecht had 17. Emmanuel did give up 29 points to Jake Elliott of Pacelli. He's now graduated. A lot of production lost from the Cardinals' starting lineup last year. 4 of their top 5 scorers have graduated. The only one that didn't was Furmanack right there, number 15. Helms on the other side. Here's Blanker, top of the key, 3, short. Seth did a good job of closing out on it. Henry's got to pick that ball up. It'll be Pacelli ball. He's just got to secure it there. You don't need to fancily dribble it on the steal or rebound. Furmanack brings it down. This will be a tough defensive task for David all day. Miller on Blanker. Helms has an open 3, doesn't take it. Gives it up for Furmanack. Furmanack goes right, pulls up. just outside the lane. No good. Henry Lau with the board. 4-point lead for Emmanuel and a chance to stretch it a little bit here. Henry Lau goes left. Henry's first time in. He has been starting recently with Seth Miller injured, and even on Thursday. Nice drive to the hoop by Henry. Can't get it to go, though. He's having trouble finishing at the basket, but he does not struggle in getting there. Finishing's the easy part, and Henry has got the hard part down. Cameron Cloud gives it back to Furmanak. Furmanak looking inside for Parks. Parks has not seen many touches inside the three-point line today. Can't get that one to go on the runner for Pacelli, and Seth Miller brings it down. Seth has 2 here. Jonathan, the leading scorer for Emmanuel, with 4. Make that 6. John driving the baseline, and no help defense there for Pacelli. Adam Fickner checked in for Emmanuel. Adam didn't get to see the floor against Independence, so we'll see how he reacts to that coming in a little cold here in this game. Furmanak for 3. David couldn't get the closeout in time, and Furmanak's got 5 to lead Pacelli. He cuts the lead in half. Ben Nauman also checking in. Ben has played in all 16 games for Emmanuel this year. He is one of 5 players to do that. Whips it over to Levi Schaller, did Henry, and he kicks it out to Seth. Seth will get a screen from Levi. Seth goes around it, gives it up to Henry. Henry back to Miller. Inside to David. David working the post, trying to go for that turnaround hook. Loses it, but it'll stick with Emmanuel.
Checking in for Pacelli, number 1, Mitchell Miller. Into the Lancers, Adam Fickner, Ben Nauman.
Miller back in for Pacelli. It was Cloud going off for his first time. They've only played 6 players so far. Over they go to Henry. Henry goes left into a bunch of defenders. Can't get it to go. Nauman flying in on the boards and came up empty. Furmanak back the other way. Someone's got to pick him up. David, his man, went out and nobody was picking him up in transition. 7 points for Furmanak. Here's Lau. Nobody picks him up. You can hear the vocal communication there by Pacelli, and not before Henry Lau hits his first 3 of the game, his first points of the game. He's on Furmanak. They've got Ben Nauman on Miller. They might want to get a switch on that soon. And undone shoelaces for Furmanak. Furmanak, the team's 3rd leading scorer behind Cloud and Blanker. He averages 9.0 points per game. He's the 2nd leading rebounder on the team with 4.9. Parks averages 6.8. Inbound from Blanker to Furmanak. Furmanak, one of the tallest players on this team at 6'3", but he's running the point. Inside they go to Miller. Ben Nauman on the post defense there. Levi gets the steal. Here comes Jonathan Gamble with Emmanuel up 4. John attacks, kicks it out to Levi. Levi for 3. Levi That's Levi's only his 3rd three-pointer of the year. He's now 3 for 12 on the year, shooting a quarter. They swing it into the right corner. Here's Helms with Emmanuel up 7 now. Furmanak goes right. Kicks it out. 3-pointer attempt from Miller, no good. Nice board by Henry. He's been rebounding very well lately. He had 6 rebounds in the loss to Independence and had 6 rebounds in the loss to Alma Pepin last Friday. Here's Adam Fickner's first touch on offense. Left corner, it's Henry Lau. He attacks the basket again. This time he'll draw a foul, and that's a smart take by Henry. He picked up 2 defenders, and there was little chance that he wasn't going to get fouled. He'll head to the line. 2nd trip for Emmanuel on the night. Jordan Ritz was 1 for 2 earlier.
I've said this before with the Lancers. It's always good to see when Levi Schaller is making points.
True.
Very good defensive asset, but if his offense starts picking up, that's a good sign for the Lancers.
Henry good on the free throw there.
Into the Lancers, David Hine and Jordan Roots.
David and Jordan back in. John goes off for the first time, as well as Levi. Henry is shooting it pretty well from the line this year in comparison to his teammates. He's 4th on the team with 53.33% coming into tonight's game, but he would like to be shooting it a lot better than he is. He expects a lot more from himself. Back the other way. It's Poplinski who just got in the game. He'll get his first points, making an immediate impact. I think some Emmanuel fans might have wanted to travel there. Roots over to Hine. Both of those two just returned to the game. Here's Nauman. Ben Nauman up top, looking inside, over to Fickner. David makes the cut. Here's Nauman, swings it over to Henry. Henry goes left, met by Poplinski. Adam Fickner goes right, kicks it out to David. David almost loses his dribble. Parks is shading him right, it would seem. David stuck with the left. He eventually switches and gives it up for Fickner. Fickner thought about the three. A bit of a weak pass over to Lau. Probably could have been stolen. But Poplinski didn't see it. Roots kicks it to Nauman. Nauman, good look from the short corner. Can't get the jumper to go, though. Blanker gives it up to Helms. Helms tries to get it to Miller. Ball for the taking. Henry lost it. Not a double dribble.
Is it not?
As I thought maybe a travel, but obviously Henry was dribbling. A foul is called.
Foul is on Pacelli's number 11, Jonathan Poplinski.
Thought it might have been double. He like dribbled it and then spun over someone, put it down. I don't know.
First for Poplinski. Only one foul for Emmanuel so far, and we are over 2/3 of the way through this first half. First halves have seemed to fly here in our field house. Travel by Henry Lau. 6-point lead for Emmanuel. Emmanuel has found themselves up at halftime in both games this week that they've played. They've been outscored in the second half and have taken 2 losses, both in Dairyland play, dropping them down to 4th in the Dairyland Small out of 5 teams. Travel there by Mitchell Miller, and the team's trade turnovers.
Even though they may have been leading at halftime, they've lost momentum right before halftime too, letting the other team get into the game.
And the absolute worst case of that was the 3rd game of the year, Alma Pepin. They were dominating in the open half, the first half of the first half, and then towards the end of that first half, they started to lose themselves. Then the second half was all Alma Pepin.
All kid in hockey.
Yeah, well, basically. He does have teammates. Henry goes left. Decided to give it up this time, and he draws a foul. Before that happens, on the ground, Emmanuel will inbound underneath.
Falls on Pacelli's number 3, Cameron Cloud. It's his second personal, team's 4th.
Cloud second. See if he stays on for too much longer. Only 4 people on the bench for Pacelli. David needs to inbound here. He gets it into Jordan, or tries to. Helms is in the way, though, and it's a steal for Pacelli. Back in transition. Here's Cloud. Ben called on the block there. I thought that was the place for a no call.
Falls on Emmanuel's number 30, Ben Nauman. That's his first personal, team seconds.
Ben's
At
first.
the line, shooting 2, Cameron Cloud.
Only the 2nd and 3rd free throw attempts here for Pacelli.
Checking into the line for
Wow.
number 42, Jonathan Gamble.
Fickner heads off as John's back on. Pacelli 1 for 2 as a team from the line. Emmanuel 2 for 4. Now Cloud is 2 for 2.
In for Pacelli, number 1, Mitchell Miller.
Miller's back and Cloud goes off with his 2 fouls. Press on here. Looks like it's going to be man from the Cardinals. Jonathan to Henry, and they break it pretty easily in the backcourt. Here's David in the front court for Emmanuel. Henry Lau for 3. No good. Ben Nauman well situated down there. Could not get the rebound, though. Back the other way from Blanker. He's been held scoreless so far. Pull-up jumper, no good. The team's leading scorer has not found the score sheet yet, similar to Matthew Higley on Monday night. He had all of his production in the second half. Maybe 2 points in the first. Gamble goes right, stutters a little bit, finds an open jump shot after David screens for him. No good. Furmanak gets the board. He's rushing down to the right of the court. Helms goes baseline, gives it up for Parks. Parks' his first shot attempt, I believe. No good. Blanker with the offensive board. Jonathan called on the foul.
Falls on Emmanuel's number 42, John Gamble. That's his first personal, team's 3rd. The line of shooting 2, Andrew Blanker.
Blanker's first attempts here. He gets it to go.
In for the Lancers, number 14, Levi Schauer.
As a team, Pacelli shoots 70.6% from the line, much better than Emmanuel's 50.75. Blanker makes that one, and Pacelli is 4 for 5 from the line. As by himself, Blanker's 81.4% from the line. David's got to get across here, close to a 10-second violation. David gives it up for Jordan. The press effective, but Jordan could have a chance here. And one!
Acrobatic layup for Jordan Rutz right there.
And he's been trying to get some of those more acrobatic layups to drop, and it's been kind of ugly in games, especially when he cannot draw contact, and it's in a more vital situation. But here in the first half, something like that is good to see, and especially when he makes it. He makes the and one. Seth back in for Henry. It's a 5-point lead for Emmanuel after Jordan's 3-point play. Jordan 2 for 3 from the line. Back comes Furmanek. Right wing Blanker. He gives it up for Miller. Miller to Parks. Parks is guarded by Gamble again. Furmanek guarded by Schaller. He was falling down. Got it before he traveled. Got it off before he traveled. And now he receives the ball back from Parks. Looking inside is Blanker. Now Helms. Helms has been in for a while off the bench. Shot by Furmanek, no good. Miller tries to get the board, and over the back called on Pacelli.
Falls on Pacelli's number 5, Nathan Helms. That's his second personal, team 6.
Helms' second foul.
Checking in for Pacelli, Jonah Pacelli.
He heads to the bench where Cameron Cloud is also sitting with 2 fouls. One starter and one reserve there, Cloud being the starter. Pacelli back in for Pacelli. David up top, gets it over to Jordan. Jordan swings to Gamble. Down low on the left block, Levi Schaller against Blanker. One of the few size advantages Emmanuel might have today. Levi tries the tight angle shot there, cannot get it to go. Really had to use the boards to his advantage there if he was going to make that one. Tough attempt. Here's Blanker. Jordan couldn't get around a screen. Blanker no good. Nice box out by Levi on the much bigger Furmanek. Jonathan attacks the lane, tries to kick it to Jordan. Again, it gets tipped, I believe. Foul on Emmanuel.
Falls on Emmanuel's number 12, Jordan Rutz. That's his first personal, team's 4.
Jordan's first. No player with more than 1 for Emmanuel. 2 players with 2 for the Cardinals. Blanker gives it up for Pacelli. Here's Furmanek. Deep 2 here. No good. David got boxed out by Miller, or at least Miller was in the right spot. David had the advantage inside, but it went to the outside. Here's Seth Miller. Gives it up for Jordan. We got a push on Mitchell Miller. Mitchell Miller called on the foul.
Falls on Pacelli's number 1, Mitch Miller. That's his first personal, team 7th.
David
And the
now
line shooting the bonus, David Hine.
shooting a single bonus attempt here. He's going to have to earn the second. David, one of Emmanuel's better free throw shooters as well. In fact, as he makes that one, David is second on the team, only behind Levi Schaller. He makes almost 66% of his free throws coming into today. Second one is no good. And Emmanuel's got a 6-point lead. 25-19 as we are winding down the first half here. Pacelli gives it up for Parks. They swing it around. Nice ball movement to Furmanek left corner. Now it's Parks in the right corner. He has not seen many opportunities on the offensive end today. Blanker with another pull-up jump shot short. Seth Miller on the board. Seth has had quite a few rebounds today. And he's been very productive since coming back from his injury. Seth Miller. Very impressive layup there. He's got 4 points now. That's an 8-point lead for Emmanuel. Looking inside to Parks was Poplinski. They get it there now. Jonathan's going to be calling a reach, though. John's being very physical down there, and luckily he's only got 2 fouls.
Falls on Emmanuel's number 42, John Gamble. That's his second personal. Team's 6th.
John has to go off for Henry. And Emmanuel with a smaller lineup in right now. The 5th team foul for Emmanuel. Inbounding was Cloud. Blanker with the fadeaway jump shot. Can't get it to go. Blanker's been pretty cold from the field here in the first half. Seth Miller up top, guarded by Cameron Cloud. Over they go to David. David open right wing 3. No good. And Furmanak gets the board. It's an 8-point lead for Emmanuel still. Furmanak guarded by Schaller. It'll be Henry on Parks as Furmanak makes a nice spinning jump shot. Levi Schaller left wing. He tries to get it to David, and David cannot corral it.
And this is the kind of breakdown that the Lancers have been having before half lately.
And right now is the point when they need to say, okay, we've made 2 mistakes in a row, or had 2 things not go our way. We cannot let it become 3 or 4 or 5. They got to shore up the defense right now and make good decisions on offense in this final minute. Parks inside. Good defense on the double there. Henry and Levi. Seth with another rebound. Timeout called as Seth was losing his dribble a little bit. But no problem. 6-point lead for Emmanuel, and they've been playing very well. But James is absolutely right. They cannot
30-second timeout of Emmanuel.
let off the pedal here in the end of the first half. Thank you for tuning in. This is ILHS Boys Varsity Basketball on Ustream. Last year between these teams, we mentioned some stats before. Jonah Albrecht had 17 for Emmanuel. He was 5 for 6 from the line. Sam Lesak had 8 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Matt White had 8 points and 6 rebounds. Calvin Ryan and John Gamble had 7 points each. For Pacelli, it was Jake Elliott with 29. He was 13 for 16 from the line. He had 7 rebounds as well. Parks, who is playing here today, 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Trevor Glodowski had 8 points. He's graduated now. And Chris Shabilski, who's also graduated, had 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Pacelli shot better from the field on the day, as well from downtown, and better at the line as well. A wide margin, almost over 30 percentage points better at the line than Emmanuel was on that day. Emmanuel was better on the offensive glass. Pacelli was better overall and on the defensive glass. Emmanuel had a higher assist-to-turnover ratio and more steals, but Pacelli had 5 blocks to Emmanuel's 0 in that game last year. Seth checks the clock here as they've been running down the clock to take the last shot. Seemingly, Seth goes left, gives it up for Henry. Henry's going to go right, nothing there. They swing it to Roots. 10 seconds left in the half. Emmanuel looking for a good shot. Jordan Roots looking like he wants to take it. He's got to give it up or make a decision here. Jordan Roots for 3. No good. And Henry cannot get the board. Furmanak impressively, or in Parks almost, he got it to skid under the ceiling there. Most road teams, if they try a shot like that, throw it into one of the cross beams on the ceiling. And at the half, it's Emmanuel up 6 points on Pacelli, 27-21. Pretty good first half for Emmanuel. They did let up a little bit at the end. It felt like that 8-point lead could have stretched to 10 or 12 by the half, but they find themselves up 6 against a bigger school, a D4 school in Pacelli, and a tough out here in non-conference play. Emmanuel, after suffering 2 losses this week, is 7-9 overall, 3-8 in the Dairyland. They are 4th of 5 teams in the Dairyland Small. They're 4.5 games back of Dairyland Small leading Alma Pepin. Not much changing on the roster at all. Joey Bailey is playing up again today. Stevens Point Pacelli is currently 8-9, 4-6 in the Central Wisconsin A Conference. They're 6 games back of first place Shiocton. You can see the roster there. A lot more length and height for Pacelli than Emmanuel. We've been having problems with copyright things lately with Prof Grants playing music. I'm going to go ask him to stop just so this does not get blocked on YouTube, this portion of the game, or not too much at least. I'll be right back. Never mind, I got Jackie Gerbitz doing that, I hope. She also brought the stats, though, from the first half. On the boards, Emmanuel has 16 rebounds compared to Pacelli's 20. Emmanuel with 13 defensive, Pacelli 15 defensive, 3-5. Pacelli leading in offensive rebounds. Seth Miller has 4 for Emmanuel, John with 5, actually, leading. Levi Schaller has 3, David Hine 1. Assists, Emmanuel has 4. Levi Schaller with 2, Roots and Hine with 1 apiece. Turnovers, they've got 7. Lau and Hine have 2, 1 for Jordan, 1 for Seth, and 1 for John. 3 assists to 4 turnovers for Pacelli. In the first half, Emmanuel shot 7 for 16 from 2, and they were 3 for 8 from downtown, making them 10 for 24 in the half. Trying to quick calculate it. 41.7 in the half for Emmanuel. Pacelli, meanwhile, from 2 was 7 for 26. And they were 1 for 4 from downtown, so that's 25%. 7 for 26 from 2. That's good for 27% just about. And that means they were 8 for 30 from the field. They shot 26.7%. So Emmanuel shooting a little bit better than Pacelli in the first half. 1 steal for Pacelli, no blocks. 1 steal for Emmanuel, that's Levi Schaller, no blocks. Pacelli had 4 steals and 1 block in the first half. And that is it for the stats from your statisticians, Sean Lillo, Dan Lau, and Jackie Gerbitz. Just a little bit more on shooting. John is 3 for 7 from the field. Jordan Roots is 2 for 5. Seth Miller, 2 for 2. I'll leave it at that. Pictures on the Pacelli slide there. Cameron Cloud in the top left, shooting a free throw at home. And then that is Garrett Parks down low. That is the Stevens Point. I forgot what the paper was called, but thank you for the pictures. Tune in next week. It'll be just boys basketball broadcast unless Prof Rail decides to head to a girls game and do a Mixler broadcast, but they're on the road next week. On Tuesday, Emmanuel is home against Gilmanton. That is only varsity, as Gilmanton did not have enough players for a JV this year. That'll be at 7 o'clock, I assume. I did not check the schedule to make sure of that, but that'll be here on Ustream. And then on Friday, the 17th, Emmanuel will travel to Blair Taylor. Both JV and varsity are playing. The varsity game will be brought to you by me on Mixler. Please tune into that as Emmanuel travels to the only team they haven't played yet in the Dairyland. Speaking of the Dairyland, standings right here. CFC is still on top of the large. They are undefeated, but behind them is very interesting with 3 teams tied for second. Melman, Olivestrom, and Augusta, all 9-3 in conference. Augusta with the best overall record. I didn't know what order to put them in. Melman has beaten Olivestrom twice. Olivestrom has beaten Augusta once. And Augusta and Melman split their matchups, so there's still one more matchup between Olivestrom and Augusta. And that'll decide who finishes higher between them. AC Lincoln's still playing well. They're 5-7, 7-11 overall. They'll be a tough out in the playoffs. That record is a bit misleading. They've been playing well lately. And in the small, it's Alma Pepin still ahead by 3 games on the next closest team, Blair Taylor. Indy is in 3rd. They have a better overall record than Independence, as does Emmanuel. But conference-wise, Blair Taylor has played better than those 2 teams. Emmanuel dropping to 4th with their 2 losses in the Dairyland. They were in 2nd on Monday. Gilmanton at the bottom of the Dairyland small. Results from this week and upcoming games next week are... You can see the results from this past week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday there. And then coming games next week, a couple of games on Monday, not Emmanuel, but then a full slate on Tuesday. Emmanuel will host Gilmanton, Elma Pepin hosting Independence, Oliva Strum hosting CFC, AC Lincoln travels to Melrose Mindoro, and Whitehall will play Augusta. Then on Thursday it'll be Indy at New Auburn. That is the only only game for any team in conference. And then on Friday, Emmanuel travels to Blair Taylor, Elma Pepin at Gilmanton, Melman is hosted by Whitehall, Augusta at CFC. That's a pretty big matchup if anybody's going to try to catch CFC. Oliva Strum is at AC Lincoln. That one game in the bottom right corner is probably the biggest outcome from last week. It's what caused that 3-team tie. Augusta went into Melrose Mindoro and beat the Melrose Mindoro team with Eric Christofferson. Obviously, he's not at full strength yet, but they got the win down there, and Augusta's really proving why they're towards the top of the Dairyland Large, even though it's so competitive this year. And if you just want to pause this, and when you watch it on YouTube, you can look through the results from last week a little bit more, but we'll get back to the floor for now. Emmanuel was the first team back out, followed closely by Pacelli. In the second half, Emmanuel's just got to keep doing what they're doing. It will be a tight one. I don't see any team. I mean, I hope that Emmanuel doesn't fade away. We have seen them fade away in second halves in games like this, such as that Elma Pepin game on the road, but I don't expect Pacelli to go away, and I hope Emmanuel doesn't. Pacelli this season is 8-9. They've had a couple of close losses. They lost to Wisconsin Rapids Assumption, which is another Catholic school. Coach John Radical was at that game. There was a three-quarter buzzer beater to tie it and send it to overtime by Assumption. And then Assumption ended up getting the win, so Pacelli kind of probably felt like they got gypped out of that one.
Coach Radical thought the game was over and had his back turned during that buzzer beater.
He's trying to get out of there. Other notable Pacelli games, they beat Elk Mound earlier in the year, a team that people from the Eau Claire area are familiar with, 47-37. They have lost to conference-leading Shiocton both times. The most recent game was their most recent game at Shiocton. They lost 50-64, but earlier in the season it was a lot closer, 48-53. They had beaten They lost to Wyowega Fremont, who Augusta played. Augusta, I believe, beat them, so you can kind of get a sense for where Pacelli is in terms of skill level. They lost to a team close that Augusta beat close, I'm pretty sure. So, right around Dairyland skill level, talent level. From last year, they lost 4 of their top 5 scorers, including Jake Elliott, who averaged 20 points a game, and Chris Shabilsky, who averaged 10.1. They lost 3 of their top 5 rebounders, including Shabilsky and Elliott, and Shabilsky and Elliott were also their top 2 assisters, and top 2 steals, and top 2 in turnovers, conversely. They lost in the first round of the playoffs last year, the regional quarterfinal. They did have a home game, but they lost to Reedsville 46-47 in the D4 tournament. Last year, they finished 8 games behind first-placed Amherst. And we're almost back to the second half here. We'll have a player feature on Jordan Roots tonight, Emmanuel's leading scorer. Stay tuned for that later. After Jordan, we will only have Josh Gerbitz, Henry Lau, and Jonathan Gamble left. I'm going to leave John for senior night, and I think we're going to do both Josh and Henry on Tuesday for the Gilmanton game. Almost ready for the second half here. Pacelli will be looking to take advantage in the opening minutes. They used to say the third quarter was most important, or very important, but now that quarters are gone, we've got halves. The first 6 minutes or so of the second half, vital for both teams. Starters back on for Emmanuel, and I would assume the starters will be back on for Pacelli. Cameron Cloud has 2 fouls. He'll still be in. Nathan Helms also has 2 fouls. He came off the bench in the first half. And we are ready for action here in the second half. It'll be Emmanuel receiving the ball, even though they won the tip, so I'm still not sure how that works at the high school level exactly. I think it might have been the team with possession arrow at the half. Miller goes over to Hine. Here's Jonathan on the second cut. Miller made one to clear up some room, and John couldn't get that one to go. I think he was readjusting for some contact, and he misses the shot. Pacelli with the ball now. Gets it up for Cloud. Miller was the one looking for the assist there. The offensive rebound for Pacelli. Nice block on Furmanak's attempt at a pass, and Emmanuel gets a steal. Doesn't allow a second shot. Schaller, right corner. Here's David Hine up top. Seth Miller. Down low to Levi Schaller. Good look at Levi on the finish. That is a nice play right there. Seth with the assist. Seth has been having a really good game. He's got 4 rebounds. At least 1 assist there. I cannot recall if he had the end of the half. And he's got 4 points. Cameron Cloud for 3. No good. Coach Radical was letting me know that Cloud was the player who made a ton of threes on JV last year against Emmanuel's JV. That game was nowhere nearly as close as the JV game we had earlier today. Emmanuel earlier today lost 39 to 35. Joey Bailey hit a 2-pointer at the buzzer to make it look a little closer than it was. It was an 8-point game with 15 seconds left, but Emmanuel managed to cut it a little bit. Gamble to Levi Schaller. David Hine, Seth Miller. David hit a 3 in the first half. He went 1 for 4 from 3 at Independence. He was 1 for 8 from the field. Not his greatest game of the year. Pacelli ball, as it was on the floor there, it rolled away from Seth and a Cardinal player. Blanker brings it down. He only had 2 points in the first half. He is Pacelli's leading scorer. Both of those points came from the line. Here's Parks. He was held scoreless by Gamble and other defenders. Foul on Pacelli down low. Offensive.
Foul on Pacelli's on Cloud. That's his 3rd personal. Team's first.
And it's Cloud, and that is exactly what head coach Matt Resch did not want. The 3rd foul for Cloud on the offensive end. Off ball, too. So Helms is on with 2 now. See if he can be a little more conservative on the defensive end, as well as offensive, where Cloud just picked up his 3rd foul. Roots to Hine. They're playing a little game of catch. They swing it over to the left side. David looking down low for David. Or John looking down low for David. Seth Miller, right corner 3. No good. Rebound comes back his way. He saves it. Levi Schaller is the receiver of the pass. Jordan Roots for 3. No good. Levi almost gets the defensive rebound, trying to tip it out to a teammate, but there was nobody there. Parks goes into Miller. Jordan brings a double right away. Good strategy there for Emmanuel, not letting any player have their way in the post. Blanker hits his first field goal of the day. He's got 4 points now. Seth Miller in transition. Jonathan Gamble looking to Levi Schaller on the cut. Now it's Jordan Roots right corner. David fakes the 3, doesn't get Miller to bite at all. Now David a little more open. He'll take the driving lane, splits between 2 defenders. Got the ball hung up down low as he was trying to bring it up. No foul there. And he could not get it to go. It's a 6-point game after Blanker's jumper on the previous possession for Pacelli. Inside they go to Parks. Parks cannot get it to go. But he'll have a chance at his first points tonight from the line.
Fouls on Emmanuel's 42, John Gamble. That's his 3rd personal, team's first.
And now Emmanuel with an important starter with 3 fouls. As Cloud is off for Pacelli, we'll see how long they leave in John. Parks hits his first free throw of the night, his first point of the night right there. 6'4", taller than any player on the court, and has a lot more wingspan, I'd imagine, as well. He hit them both, and Pacelli is 6 for 7 from the line as a team. Jonathan cuts to the right block. The 3 non-seniors on the outside, as John also vacates to the outside. Still, man defense for Pacelli. Levi drives, gives it back to Seth. David's got some space given to him by Miller, who's sagging a lot. Gamble right wing. David moves to the post now. John tries to drive right, cuts it back. Now he dishes it out to Jordan Roots. Jordan from the corner. That's a 2 off the top of the backboard. Perhaps just the high front side of the backboard. No out of bounds called there. They swing it around to Helms. Helms to Furmanak. Right wing, looking inside was Blanker. John with the steal, throws it off of Blanker and out of bounds. That should be a manual possession. Nice hustle play there by John. Pretty smart as he felt his momentum carrying him out of bounds. Maybe didn't have an option for the pass. Blanker got the ball thrown off of him, and Emmanuel have possession off of that steal. Levi Schaller. Levi kicks it back up the set. Emmanuel's been working it around the outside, trying to get looks on the inside. They haven't had much success with drives to the basket this half. David tries to drive in. Seth got in his way a little bit. Levi Schaller, left wing. He throws it over to Jordan. David Hine, right wing three. Looks on from here, and it's good.
Jordan.
David's second of the night, and he's got 7 points now. As he hit one free throw in the first half as well. Parks inside. Jonathan makes sure not to foul, and he was probably having a little heart attack there as the ball was called a jump ball, but a whistle was blown, and they were looking right at him.
Checking in for the Lancers, number 10, Adam Fickner.
Fickner comes in for Gamble. It wasn't Gamble's fourth foul, but just get him off the floor before that happens too soon. Now it'll be David tasked with guarding Parks, the biggest player on the floor. David, I believe, is guarding Furmanak, so Levi will switch on to him. Fickner will take Blanker as he comes in the game. Furmanak gives it up for Blanker. Now it's Helms. Furmanak guarded by Levi. Jordan fell down. Helms was his guy. Now Jordan was on Miller. Parks drives to the basket, gets his own board, misses the shot on the second attempt, but gets fouled. It'll be David's foul. He has 2 now.
Calls on Emmanuel's number 40, David Hine. That's his second personal, team second. At the line, shooting 2, Garrett Parks.
Parks is 2 for 2 from the line. Those coming in the second half. His only 2 points of the day. That wasn't no good there. 6 for 8 is Pacelli from the line.
Number 22,
Emmanuel is 4 for 7. No attempts for Emmanuel yet in the second half. 7-point lead for the Lancers as Henry checks in. Jordan goes off. Parks 3 for 4 from the line. Seth Miller given a little bit of pressure by Nathan Helms, but he gets across half without too much trouble. Seth driving it all the way into the lane. Now Fickner gives to David. David getting his 3-point shot respected a little bit more after he made that second one. Adam Fickner, right wing, looking in for Levi on the cut. The swing offense for Emmanuel after they ran motion for so many years. The swing offense that Wisconsin, the Badgers, run. It seems to get new players in the post with more frequency. Motion was kind of an open-ended offense, while swing has a set design. Adam Fickner for 3, no good. Miller pushed off of the boards by Helms, and Helms secures it. Nathan Helms brings it down. Pass catches Furmanak in the net. And he goes right between Schaller and Hine. Hine was not looking to pick up his 3rd foul there, it seemed. And Furmanak adds to his scoring lead for the Cardinals. He has 11. That was his first points of the second half. Henry Lau, right wing. Henry gives it up for Seth. Seth over to David. Seth has been taking smarter shots in his 2 games back since injury. He had a couple games early in the year when he was taking lots of deep shots he probably shouldn't have. Fickner gets it stripped, and here comes Blanker. Blanker with a breakaway layup. He gets it to go. Blanker's got 6 now. Henry Lau gives to Fickner. Looks like Jordan Ritz is going to be coming back in here. Here's Fickner on the right wing, over to Lau. Seth Miller left wing, guarded by Helms. It's a 2-point lead now for Emmanuel. It was 7 just moments ago. David up top. Gives it to Miller. Seth kicks out to Henry. Henry goes right. Now to David, or Adam. Fickner over to Seth. And Emmanuel's not getting much on the inside. Pacelli's doing a good job of closing off driving lanes. David rolls. Seth kicks it out to Fickner. Fickner, right corner 3. That one's good. Adam, great look there after Emmanuel really works for their shot. Fickner did get the ball stripped on the previous possession, but he recovers well and takes a good attempt, a good look. David should have had the steal, and he does get it. A little bit dangerous as it was up in the air. Here's Fickner in transition. He goes right. He'll attack the basket. Gets blocked, though, by Miller, and it does go off of Fickner. Out of bounds.
Number 12, Jordan Woods.
Jordan in for Adam. 5-point lead for Emmanuel. 10-21 left in this game. Emmanuel's been involved with 3 close contests this week, this being the 3rd of them. They've dropped the first 2. They're looking to get back to their winning ways. Shot no good. Nobody was on the boards for Emmanuel. Offensive rebound for Fermanak, and Miller will finish. He has 6. Emmanuel has not won since last Tuesday against Whitehall. They've dropped 3 in a row. And have only won 2 of 6, excuse me. Levi Schaller spins to the basket. Very nice move for Schaller there. He's got 7. And both teams trading baskets on the last couple of possessions. Schaller almost gets the steal there. Fermanak secures, pulls up the jump shot. Helms gets the board. Now a pull-up jumper for Blanker, no good. Miller gets the board, and Emmanuel has got to box out. They are missing Jonathan Gamble down there. Their leading rebounder. Ben Nauman will be coming in to provide some size. Seth slows things down after it's a little chaotic there in transition. And Jordan Roots right wing. Over to Seth, he's guarded by Helms. Jordan will set a ball screen, he rolls. Not much doing there. Skip pass by Levi to David. David tries to go around Miller, he finds a lane to the basket, cannot finish. David also has been having trouble finishing at the line. Just like Henry. And a timeout called by head coach Matt Resch of Pacelli. Emmanuel's been playing strong this second half. They have held just about even with Pacelli. The scoring has been 10-11 here in the second frame. Cameron Cloud just checked in at the scorer's table. He'll be back with his 3 fouls. I wonder how long it'll be until we see Jonathan Gamble back in this game. He has 3 as well. He is not sitting down right now with the starter, or with the people currently in the game. So he'll remain on the bench after this timeout is over. Austin Carroll played down to the JV team today. He only has 1/2 of eligibility, as does Josh Gerbitz, per the usual, as Josh usually plays 2 halves of JV, but it was Austin's first JV game of the year. He seemed to provide a little bit of a spark on the offensive end that Emmanuel needed, and they played well, but lost a close game to Pacelli's JV. The JV team now is 7-10. After they were 6-2 at one point this year. Things have kind of headed downhill. We'll show you the JV slide later, perhaps at the next dead ball. After that CFC run, 6-2, and then the road game of 3 weeks, and kind of killed them as they lost 3 that week and lost to Whitehall as well, and Elite Scrum and Independence earlier this week. They did get the win against Elm Pepin last Friday. Emmanuel's JV did. Emmanuel's Varsity was not so fortunate. Coming around the screen was Cloud. He's back in the game, gives it up for Miller. Ben Nauman in the game for Emmanuel. Now he's guarding Miller. Mitchell Miller of Pacelli. Cloud goes around. Emmanuel Seth Miller cannot get that shot to go. It seemed like an easy bunny there, but Seth gets the board. Over to Schaller. Levi looking to Jordan on the cut. Good look inside. Jordan looking to shoot, and that'll be a travel. Jordan maybe should have just taken it where he got the ball there. 6-foot jumper from right in front of the hoop. Pretty high percentage shot. Miller right wing. Pass into Parks. Help defense there for Emmanuel. No one really contacted Parks for an extended amount of time. It was just little touches on the way up and not enough to constitute a foul. Parks gets tangled up with David there, and he'll be called a foul.
Falls on Pacelli's number 22, Garrett Parks. That's his first personal. Team second.
First to Garrett Parks there. Only 2 fouls for both teams in the first half. We are over halfway through the second half. David goes to the left elbow, gives it to Jordan Roots. Levi Schaller right corner. Back over to David. Ben Nauman guarded by Mitchell Miller. They're guarding each other on both ends of the floor. Jordan takes the drive to the basket. He gets rejected. Looking to draw a foul, I imagine. He did not have an open lane by any means. Emmanuel inbound underneath the basket. Something they haven't done too much today. Let's see how they run it. They flatten out here. Levi clears. They get it to him. Ben will post up down low. David will sneak around to the left corner. And a successful inbound and better execution than sometimes we've seen this season. David sets a screen for Seth. Seth gives to Levi. Levi goes into Ben Nauman. Emmanuel has not had many looks on post-ups today. Ben draws a foul there, though. And another under the basket inbound here. John Gamble getting ready to come back in, as well as Henry Lau.
Ball's on Pacelli, number 1, Mitch Miller. That's his second personal. Team's third.
Ben's got to head off after
Checking in for Lansing,
drawing that foul.
Henry Lau, John Gamble.
As well as
In for Pacelli,
Levi
number
Shaw.
5, Nathan Helms.
Miller's second foul. He'll go off for Helms. A bit of a smaller lineup without Miller out there. It's just Furmanak and Parks that outsize Emmanuel. Here's Cloud. Henry blows by him, gives up the shot. John will take it. Jumper from Jonathan Gamble. That's good. John is improving his outside game very much throughout the second half of this season. He's got 8 points today. John will be looking to go for his 4th straight double-digit scoring game. He's really helped out Emmanuel with his production on the offensive end lately. Jump shot for Blanker is good.
Blanker.
He's got 8. John's usually relied upon mostly on the defensive end and on the boards. He's also a very good assister. He leads Emmanuel this year and is 4th in the Dairyland Small with 2.9 a game. But lately he's become a scoring threat for Emmanuel. He's 3rd on the team behind Lau and Rutz. Jordan. Timeout called by Tom Williams and that JV slide. When this was made, I didn't have the last game in, obviously, the one that just happened, so they are 7-9. I can quick switch that. 7-9 overall. Since I believe that's 1 game too many, actually, because that would be the same amount of games as the Varsity. Oh, never mind. They played their game today, and they didn't play Gilmanton that one time, so that's right. Varsity will have played 17 games by the end of the day. You can see Sam Oster and Gabe Plath from their C-team days last year, and Josh Gerbitz from last year's JV team on the pictures. Coached by John Radical and assisted by Caleb Nelman. Caleb won second teamer all-conference his senior year, the only all-conference selection that year for Emmanuel. A quick guard, Caleb Melner, looking to show the ropes to, well, last year it was Seth Miller and Jordan Roots down on JV, and this year it's more so Joey Bailey.
Gabe Plath.
Gabe is also a guard. He's a bit bigger. Joey, a freshman, is suited up here for varsity today. He has not gotten into a varsity game yet. He was also suited up for the Elma Pepin and Oliva Scrum games. Henry Lau, 3 left. Big basket there for Henry Lau, and he's got 7 points. That puts Emmanuel up 8, tied for their biggest lead of the day, I believe. Going right is Parks. He finds 3 Emmanuel defenders. David had it. We've got a foul on Emmanuel. David had the... Oh, it's a foul on Garrett Parks. I sure thought that was on Pacelli.
Ball is on Pacelli, number 22.
If not that, I thought it was a jump ball.
Team's third.
That did not seem like a foul on David as he had the ball cleanly secured. And he gets the steal. 3 Emmanuel defenders there. We're not allowing Parks to have anything inside. Pacelli's going to ramp up the pressure again as they did towards the end of the first half. Jordan gets Cloud to come with him all the way behind the blue line. Up screen set by Nauman. Roots, and now Nauman gets the pass. Gamble swings it back to Ben. Now Jordan Roots left corner. Along the baseline, a cut by Henry. John Gamble. Guarded by Parks up top. David Hine guarded by Furmanak. John finds himself open down low. Tries to fake out Parks. And eventually gets a body foul on the shot. John probably had an open shot there, but I think he thought that Parks was a lot closer and was going to get another block.
Parks, that's his 3rd personal, team's 5th.
Parks has picked up all 3 of his fouls in the second half. John at the line here. John, while he has improved from the field, is still struggling a little bit from the line. He makes his first attempt. John's 18 for 51, good for about 35% from the line of players with more than... Excuse me, I got really quiet. players with more than 18 free throws. He is 6th on the team in terms of percentage. He makes both there, though, and he's got 10 points, his 4th straight game with 10 points or more. 3 attempt by Cloud. Rolls in. Finally bounces there for Pacelli, and that's a big basket there for Cloud, as it was a 10-point margin before that. Jonathan Gamble going right. Dangerous pass. Jordan does receive it cleanly, though. Henry drives, dishes it off for Nalman. Ben wasn't expecting that. Ben gets blocked, goes up again, and cannot draw the foul. Tough play down there by Mitchell Miller, and he was certainly playing conservatively with his 2 fouls. And another 3 attempt for Cloud. That one goes down clean. Emmanuel's got to get around those screens they set for their 3-point shooter in Cloud. Like I said earlier, he hit a bunch of threes against Emmanuel's JV last year in Stevens Point. Jordan drives a bit of a wild shot, and that was like the one he had earlier, but that one was an and one where he scored. It's a 4-point game as Pacelli went on a 6-0 run there, and they can continue it. Another 3 attempt for Cloud. It's good, and we got a 1-point ball game. A 2-point ball game. That was a 2. An 8-0 run for Cameron Cloud, and Pacelli is back in this. That possibly could have been a 3-point play, too. A lot of contact on the way down as Cloud fell over from Jordan Roots contacting him. Tom Williams has got to call timeout to regroup his troops. Pacelli fans still a little mad about Cloud getting knocked down. A bunch of them still talking about it. It's a 2-point lead for Emmanuel. They've had the lead since the first half. Pacelli hasn't had the lead at all, and if they did, it was early in the first. It was a 10-point lead for Emmanuel at one point in this game just a minute ago before Cameron Cloud hit 3 jump shots, finally finding his stroke from the outside. Just under 4.5 left, and Pacelli has got all the momentum right now. Well, it will be nice if Emmanuel can manage to get a field goal here and stretch the lead a little more. It's really the defensive end where they need to pick things up. The starters in with the exception of Henry on for Levi Schaller. Seth Miller left wing. Let's see how Emmanuel regroups here. Right corner, David Hind looking to Henry on the cut across. Here's David. He's guarded by Miller. Mitchell Miller allows David to dribble around. He's got to give it up. Jonathan Gamble, right wing. John looking inside to David. Poked away by Miller. Back out to John, and a foul called on Pacelli. That is Park's 4th.
Lancer's doing a good job of not getting a lot of fouls late in the game. Keeping those who are somewhat in foul trouble, keeping them clean.
Checking in for the Lancers, Levi Schaller.
Early in the season, Emmanuel is having foul totals like 16 and 20. But ever since then, ever since the Christmas break, they've been much better. Seth Miller does receive it in the backcourt. That was not a backcourt violation. At least where his feet were. That was Park's 4th foul. He is still on the floor. Perhaps Jonathan will try to push it against him. See how what Jonathan tries to do here. Pass down to Seth Miller. Risky. It was tipped by Furmanak and stolen by Pacelli. Cloud has scored the last 8 points of this game. He gives it up there for Furmanak. Cloud comes around again. Open 2. This is for the tie. No good, and nobody gets the rebound initially. Eventually, Levi Schaller got to it. Over to Seth Miller. Just 3:15 left in this game. Seth Miller, pull-up jumper, no good. Schaller cannot get the board. It's Cloud. He's been a real X factor in the second half. Nice poke by Levi Schaller. Off of Furmanak and out of bounds. I think Matt Resch is trying to say that Furmanak did not touch it. Nice poke by Levi, causing a turnover in transition. And Emmanuel has given some punches back to Pacelli after the timeout. They haven't let Pacelli have the way in everything. Jonathan Campbell attacking the basket. Foul on the shot there, and Emmanuel will go to the line. Jonathan Campbell shooting. John's 2 for 2 on the day.
We have not seen the drive-in John Gamble as much as we have lately in the past home games. He's more of stayed on the outside.
True, he's really had his way against teams on the drive. The layups he's had tonight, he's just kind of found himself in there from passes by teammates or offensive rebounding. John misses his first free throw of the night. That's his first miss of the night. He's 2 for 3. Can't get that one to go either. And as a team, Emmanuel is 6 for 11. They've been shooting around 50% all year. They're just over 50%, 50.75. Cameron Cloud finds himself with another open jump shot. Might have been a foul there on Seth as he contacted him. But it's no good nonetheless. Refs didn't call it. It was after the shot. It was off of Cloud's hand. Seth gives it up to Jonathan. John to David. John with 3 fouls, and his foul trouble hasn't been a problem, and it won't be. David fakes around the defender. Blanker was maybe going to try to put some help defense on there, but David quick faked a pass to the corner and found himself with an open layup. Highly skilled play there from Hine. Puts Emmanuel up 4. Blanker up top to Cloud. Cloud has had the shots on Pacelli's last 4 possessions that have gotten a shot. Shot by Blanker there. Knocked down. It's a 2-point game again. Blanker's got 10. 6 of those coming in the second half. 2-point lead for Emmanuel. 100 seconds left in this game. Seth goes left. Seth trying to pull up something. He eventually passes it to John. John with the pull-up jumper. Jonathan Campbell! Tom Williams with a fist pump there. And John's got 12. Now the 3 by Cloud. No good. And this is a big possession for Emmanuel. They can pull ahead by more than 4. Foul there by Miller. David was trying to break through. I think Miller was really trying to get a jump ball, if anything. And David will have a chance at the line. That's Miller's 3rd.
His 3rd personal, team's 8th.
Miller with 3,
At the line,
Cloud with 3, and Parks with
David
4. Parks has stayed in the game since he picked up that 4th foul. He hasn't seen much of the bench, if any at all, in the second half. Statistically, David Hine's not the one you want to foul late in the game. He has a 1-and-1 here, though. He's got to earn the second. Can't get that one to go. And back the other way comes Pacelli. David is 1 for 3 from the line. Furmanak goes left. Kicks it out to Miller. Miller for 3. No good. Seth Miller with the rebound. And he turns away from a couple of defenders. He's got to give it up. Nice crossover on Blanker. The crowd getting into it there. And we're under a minute to go in this game. Emmanuel up 4. John tells his team to relax. And they've got to close it out here, but Emmanuel with most of the momentum right now. It's a 4-point game, and they've got possession. A basket on this possession would be huge.
Usually Emmanuel finding themselves on the opposite end of this game. Usually down 4 with about a minute left, and then just letting the other team take it. They'll have to be strong here in this situation.
That tip by Levi on Furmanak in transition, that's something that I feel happens to Emmanuel rather than for them more often. But tonight, it's been Emmanuel getting a little bit more breaks, and obviously that wasn't a break, that was a play made by Levi, and a good one at that. Starters on the floor for Emmanuel. Starters on for Pacelli with the exception of Helms. Oh, 2 reserves actually on for Pacelli. Helms and Poplinski in for Parks and Cloud. Parks and Cloud in a little bit of foul trouble. Emmanuel's got to get it in against the press. Tipped out of bounds by Pacelli. It'll stick with the Lancers. I imagine they have Poplinski and Helms on defense just so they can take up fouls if they need to. Parks has 4. Jonathan's got to get it in. A timeout called by Tom Williams. That's what they got to do. They were not prepared for that amount of pressure. Second timeout in a row called by Tom Williams. Leading scorer for Emmanuel tonight has been Jonathan Gamble. He's got 12. 5 made 2-pointers and 2 free throws. He's 2 for 4 from the line. Behind him, I believe, is his cousin, David Hine, who has 9 points. We'll get you those final stats at the end of the game, as well as for Pacelli. Pacelli is the leading scorer. Isman Cloud with 12. Furmanek has 11. I thought they were tied. Blanker has 10. Miller 6. Poplinski 2. Parks has 3. All those coming from the line. A bit nerve-wracking here down the stretch. Emmanuel's got to close this one out. This could be a very big win for them, or it could be another one of those losses that got away. Non-conference, not as meaningful, but in terms of the seeding meeting that they'll have within their new regional, where they play more Dairyland teams instead of teams to the north of here, which for the playoffs, they can bring up a game like this, even if they do end up dropping this game. They played a tough team like Pacelli with, I believe, double the enrollment of Emmanuel all game. Levi Shaw gives it up for Gamble. Gamble gets fouled. That's not who Emmanuel really wants at the line, especially with a 1-on-1 situation.
Yeah, Pacelli, I don't know if they were attempting to not foul Levi, but he's the one Emmanuel wants at the line.
Yeah. Number 11, Jonah Poplinski. That's his second personal, team's 9th.
Jonah Poplinski's second.
At the line, shooting the bonus, John Gamble.
Right side of this for Emmanuel is next foul. Should it not be offensive, they will have 2 shots at the line no matter what. Jonathan cannot make the first. I think the shot has to hit rim, if they're going to call it like that. Okay. I thought it was just an air ball. Was it an automatic? Turnover. Well, they're talking over it. Whistle probably shouldn't have been blown. One ref heads to the scorer's table. Oh, they got to reset the clock. Clock shouldn't have been running on the free throw, I guess. Or should have. I don't know. A little bit of pressure on by Jordan Roots. He'll be guarding Blanker. Helms is helping out Blanker. I think he's going to come back. Now Sepp is going to go apply some pressure. It'll just be a loose guarding across half. They give it back to Furmanek. Furmanek guarded by Levi. Going baseline is Blanker. The jump shot, no good. They got to get the board. Helms gets it tipped away, and now it's Emmanuel with the ball. 40 seconds remaining. Jordan pushes ahead. Jordan's going to slow it down. He didn't have numbers. And Jordan is a good free throw shooter. A player they want at the line, and he's got 2. As now it's a double bonus.
That's his first personal, team's 10th.
Blanker finds himself
At
with
the
only
line,
his first foul.
shooting 2, double bonus, Jordan Rooks.
Jordan can put Emmanuel ahead by 5 or 6 here. He has 2 guaranteed free throws. Cannot make the first. Jordan is now 2 for 4 on the day. Emmanuel is 6 for 13 as a team. Jordan gets 1 of 2. Puts Emmanuel at 50% for the day. 7 for 14. It's a 5-point game. 2 possessions. Pacelli needs a basket on this possession. Tipped by Jordan. Jonathan getting in there. Might have been a foul. They'll let it go. Jordan calling the foul. Only a third of the half, so nowhere near to the bonus. Nowhere near to the amount of bonus fouls they would need for the bonus.
Emmanuel's number 12, Jordan Rooks. That's his second personal, team's 3rd.
Jordan's second, only the team's 3rd. There's no conceivable way that Pacelli would ever get to bonus with this little amount of time remaining. Ball down low. Parks had it. Tough call there. They'll keep it with Pacelli, though. I believe that was the right call. Schaller and Parks were tied up. Emmanuel doesn't have to be afraid to foul here. 3 for Blanker. This is a huge shot, and he drains it. We got a game. Should Pacelli have not scored on that possession, it really felt like Emmanuel would have had this one. Especially if they could have converted at the line. But it's a 2-point game after Blanker hits that huge corner 3.
30-second timeout, Pacelli.
Timeout called by Matt Resch, the Pacelli head coach. So we've got a little bit more basketball here to play.
Definitely the closest game Emmanuel's been in.
True. Emmanuel has not yet been to an overtime session. Pacelli did lose 1 overtime game. That was the game against Assumption with the 3-quarter buzzer beater that Coach Radical was at.
Last overtime game for Emmanuel was last year at Alma Pepin?
Yeah, it was the home game against Alma Pepin on senior night. That was their 3rd to last game of the year. It was an 71-67 loss, something like that. They lost to Alma Pepin twice in overtime last year. The one on the road wasn't as close. as the Eagles dominated in overtime. The one on senior night at home was a little more heartbreaking. And a full-on press on for the Cardinals. They get into Seth. Seth will be fouled. Seth has not shot free throws since he got back from injury. I don't believe he did not have any attempts against Independence on Thursday night.
Calls on Pacelli's number 12, Andrew Blanker.
He'll have 2 shots here.
His second personal. At the line for Emmanuel shooting the double bonus, Seth Miller.
Huge shots here for Miller. He's 4 for 18, only 22%. He was not having a good time of it before his injury. Makes that one though, and that really helps.
Number 42, John Campbell.
Someone's got to get off for Emmanuel. Henry hustles, jogs off. Seth putting Emmanuel ahead by 3. That's a big one. This one, second one here is even bigger. Seth cannot get it to go. Levi in on the boards, could not corral it. It's a one-possession game. Pacelli can tie it here. They'll look to Cloud, their top 3-point shooter. It's Helms wide open, left corner. No good. Jonathan Gamble the board. Jordan Woods ahead. Foul. Jordan Woods will have a chance to make it a 2-possession game.
Wide open 3.
That was Helms' first 3-point attempt of the night, if I'm not mistaken. He hasn't been shooting much at all on offense, and it's understandable. If it was Cameron Cloud, that is just an absolute bonehead move by Emmanuel, leaving him wide open. But it was a reserve that hasn't shot much, but still wide open, and he looked like he had a pretty good shooting form. Jordan misses the first free throw. He needs to make 1 of 2 to make this a 2-possession game, should Emmanuel not foul and give him a 4-point play. If he makes this, Emmanuel probably has the win. He cannot get it to go. Timeout called by Matt Resch before they even had the rebound. I don't know about that. He didn't have the rebound yet. He did not have possession. Emmanuel is still fighting for the board. It'll be Emmanuel possession. I believe they were calling that an intentional foul, so anyways, that'll be Emmanuel possession, I think. I saw Tom Williams asking. 50-47. We'll see who has possession here. That is a big thing. Possession arrow favoring Emmanuel, just so you know. Three-point game. Emmanuel has battled with Pacelli this whole second half. They led by 6 at the halftime break. Pacelli has outscored Emmanuel 26-23 in the second half. It was 27-21 at the break. Starters on for Emmanuel. Gamble, Hine, Roots, Jordan, Roots, Schaller, and Seth Miller. On for the Cardinals are their starters. Cloud, four of their 5 starters. Cloud, Blanker, Furmanak, and Parks are on. Helms is still on. Mitchell Miller on the bench. They try to get Blanker open coming back. Emmanuel's got to make sure not to foul. They can tie it up here. No good, off the ceiling. They wanted a foul back there. And this game will end in controversy. The refs head to the locker room.
Emmanuel 50, Pacelli 47. That's a trip ball.
Pacelli enraged by the officiating there at the end. Coach Matt Resch is not having it. The officials quick-headed to our officials room here in our gym. And while that shot by, I believe, Blanker was nowhere close, they wanted a foul well before that. It would have been about, it was an off-ball foul, nowhere close to bonus. So it would have been the 4th foul on Emmanuel. They would have gotten it on the side for 1.8 seconds remaining about.
Unless he maybe wanted a shooting foul.
Yeah, I guess so. It seemed like they were a little more.
I feel like
they were angry.
If it would have just been a normal foul, I don't think he would have gotten that angry. But a
true
shooting foul, I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't see anything.
That would have been huge. I definitely did not see a shooting foul. At least on, maybe there was a double clutch, like he was going to get rid of the ball, and that's where they were mad. But the second attempt, the final attempt, there was no shooting foul there. You can watch that back on YouTube. Before we get final stats and recaps from tonight's game, here's our player feature on Jordan Roots, the Lancers' leading scorer. He finds different ways to put the ball in the basket. He's a good driver. He can finish as he drives to the hoop. A good outside shooter, as you can see. Obviously, hit the 3-point shot is one of his specialties. You can pause this on YouTube if you're watching the game back on recording, and even if you're watching it live, pause it when the YouTube video is uploaded, just so you can see the stats there on Jordan. He's a junior. He's got one more year of varsity play left, and it should be a treat to watch him next year and the rest of this year, as that is our third to final player, or fourth to final player feature of the season. Final stats. Go for it. Final stats of the game. First for Emmanuel, Jonathan Gamble had 12 points, leading the way. A balanced scoring attack for Emmanuel. David Hine had 9 points. Levi Schaller had 7, along with Henry Lau. He had 7 as well. Jordan Rutz with 5. Or Jordan Rutz with 7 as well. Seth Miller with 5. And Adam Fickner with the lone 3 points off his three-pointer. Emmanuel gets the win 50-47, albeit a little controversially at the end. They got a little bit more wrap-up here to do. James had to go. I thank him for helping out with the broadcast here tonight and all season. Leading scorer for Pacelli was Cameron Cloud. He had those 3 jump shots on that 8-0 run. He finished with 12 points total. He was tied. Down the stretch, Blanker pulled ahead of him. Blanker had 13, excuse me. Furmanak had 11. Those 3 leading the scoring for Pacelli. Miller had 6. Garrett Parks had 3, and Poplinski had 2. Final stats from the statisticians here. Rebounding for Emmanuel. They had a much better second half, or a little bit better second half than the first half. It seemed better. In fact, they had less rebounds, and I got ahead of myself. They had 31 total rebounds, 25 defensive, 6 offensive. Pacelli had 37 total rebounds. They had 25 defensive, the same as Emmanuel, but 12 offensive. Total rebounding, it was Seth Miller. It looks like he led the way. He had 9 rebounds, his high on the year by far. Jonathan Gamble had 6. Levi Schaller also with 6. David Hine 5. Henry Lau 3 boards. Ben Nauman and Jordan Rutz each with 1 rebound. Assists for Emmanuel. Jordan Rutz led the way with 3. Schaller and Miller had 2 apiece. Hine and Henry Lau had 1. Turnovers. 11 turnovers for the team. Jordan Rutz had 2. Jordan Rutz had 2. Seth Miller had 2. Lau with 2. Hine with 2. Gamble with 2. Adam Fickner with 1. So 9 assists to 11 turnovers. Pacelli had 6 assists to 6 turnovers. Steals for Emmanuel, only 3 on the game. Schaller, Hine, and Gamble with 1 apiece. 1 block, that was by Levi Schaller. 6 steals for Pacelli, 4 blocks for the Cardinals. And from the field, Emmanuel, for the game, from 2-point range, they were 12 for 30, good for 40%. From downtown, they were 6 for 14, 42% from behind the arc. And total, they were 18 for 44, putting them at 40.9%, much better than the 26 they had at half. They shot a lot better in the second, did Emmanuel. Pacelli finished from 2-point range. They were 14 for 41. Oh, so that was Pacelli with the 26 at half. Never mind. Emmanuel had higher than that at the halftime break. Pacelli, from 2-point range, shot 14 for 41, good for 34%, just about. And from downtown, they were 4 for 14, 28.57. Emmanuel holding their opponents to a pretty low free throw, a 3-point percentage yet again. And those were our stats from our statisticians, Jackie Gerbitz, Dan Lau, and Sean Willow. Thank you to them for providing those. Just one slide I forgot to get to throughout tonight's game. The most recent and upcoming games for Emmanuel and Pacelli. Pacelli's most recent game before today was a loss to Shiocton. Emmanuel lost to Independence, like we talked about. And you can see the upcoming schedules. Both teams with Emmanuel's got 4 remaining regular season games, including the crossover. Stevens Point, Pacelli also has 4 remaining. All of those are conference games in the Central Wisconsin 8. And you can see regionals right there as we get closer to the end of the year. Those are on February 28th, March 2nd, and March 3rd. The stats scroll going across from both teams' most recent games. Jonathan Gamble had 15 against Indy, 13 for Seth and Jordan. Henry Lau had 9, as well as 6 rebounds. Poppy for the Indies had 18, Keenan 17. Killian had 12, all of those were in the second half. And Johnny Warner had 9, and then on the top you can read the stats from Pacelli's game against Shiocton, the conference leading Shiocton Chiefs. I believe they're the Chiefs. Parks had 13 in that game. He was held to 3 today. He had 8 boards. Oh, I should say Blanker, excuse me. I misspelled that. Didn't double check with my roster. He had 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Miller with 9, Cloud with 8. Furmanek had 6 and 5. It was Nate Schmidt, returning first-team all-conference player for Shiocton, with 28 points in that game. His teammate Spencer had 13, 5 and 3, 3 steals. Brouillard with 12 and 9. And it keeps going. You can pause that or let it play on YouTube on the archive just to see that scroll of stats. Thank you for tuning in today. Just a little bit more wrap up here. And we'll go back to that upcoming broadcast live if this allows me to. It does. Tune in next Tuesday. That'll be our next broadcast for both girls and boys basketball, of both of them. It'll be the boys taking on Gilmanton here at home. It'll be at 7 o'clock, I believe. You can check the Emmanuel schedule if I might be wrong. I just assumed with only a varsity game, I think it'll be at 7, just like we did for the girls against Blair Taylor last night due to sickness. And then Emmanuel will play Blair Taylor on the road next Friday. That'll be on Mixler. I'll be bringing that broadcast to you, audio only. Tune in. Thank you to all those who do tune in on Mixler as well as on Ustream. It's been really great support this year for James and I as we bring you ILHS boys varsity basketball. Thank you for tuning in today. Emmanuel gets a great non-conference win. They finished 5-1 in non-conference play, not including the crossover game, which will be played against a conference team but won't count for conference record. The only loss in non-conference coming to Spring Valley, who was state ranked at one point. So Emmanuel now 8-9 overall, still are 3-8 in the Dairyland, but this is a big win in terms of seeding when it comes to the playoffs, beating a very good team in Pacelli. Pacelli moves to 8-10 overall, and they are still 4-6 in the Central Wisconsin 8 Conference. And that should do it. Emmanuel gets the win over Pacelli. Stevens Point Pacelli here today, splitting the 2-game set they played between last year and this year. 50-47 is your final. This has been Gunny Sippert, helped out by James Shazer here. Have a good rest of your Saturday.